Hi everybody, this is Dr. Matt Dorsey coming to you with another live here. Once again, this one should be interesting. For those of y'all who don't know, I'm the CHOQ Chief Scientific Officer and Formulator, and I'm a doctor of acupuncture and Chinese medicine. I'm also an herbalist and a nutritionist, and I've been in the supplements industry for about 12 or 13 years, and it has been quite an adventure. Hey Phyllis, seems like I see you every time on here, very cool. So I was trying to figure out what to talk about today. And, something that's been on my mind lately, talking to a couple friends and also a couple clients of mine, the term quality of life keeps coming to mind. So what do you guys think about that term? What does that mean to you, quality of life? So in my industry, also in my, practice as a practitioner, people a lot of the time, we're all chasing ways to fix ourselves, right? We got this issue, let's fix it, or labs, I got this lab that's messed up, let's fix it, or, whatever it is, right? This diagnosis and let's fix it. And that's all great. That has its place. But a lot of the time, what I also like to tell people is, what is your quality of life, So for example, if I were to ask you on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you enjoy your life? What would you rate? So yeah, people can make a long list of things that are wrong with them, both physically and mentally, psychologically, or whatever that they want to fix, right? So they can be a whole, healed, perfect person. But is that always going to raise your quality of life, right? So you could have one person over here, for example, who has a bunch of different health issues and is not in the best health, but they have a pretty good quality of life because of the way they set their life up and because of relatively low stress levels and good interpersonal relationships, all that sort of thing. You can have somebody over here who is perfectly healthy, 100%, has no issues at all their labs are perfect, whatever, but they don't have a good quality of life. They're too busy, they're chasing illusions, they're doing things that are actually really not good for themselves on a spiritual and mental level. So, meat and potatoes, just very practical. So what do y'all think? Is that making any sense to you guys? Quality of life? Sometimes the point is, sometimes we get hung up on chasing a certain idea of we're supposed to be, 100% perfect physically, right? Or, we have to fix all these different things about ourselves. We get into fixing mode, right? Men are classically, especially bad at this, but everybody really, we obsess over what can I fix about myself to make myself better, to make myself perfect, and there's nothing wrong with improvement, but if you can just focus on ways to improve your quality of life, that is crucial. So if you have any friends or family members, and whatever their health issues are they're dealing with or stressing them out, just let them know, if you can also deal with the stress of dealing with whatever you're dealing with, and you can figure out ways to just chill out, get your mind off of it, stop focusing on it 24/7, take life less seriously, do things you enjoy, do art, sports, whatever it is, get out there and do it. Another thing I like to recommend for a lot of people is to make a list of things that you haven't done in a while or have never done and want to do. So for example, let's say you want to take, let's say you want to do more dancing, right? You want to get out and see more live music, whether it's electronic music or bands or whatever, and you want to dance, right? Let's say you haven't played guitar in 10 years and you love guitar. Go out and buy a cheap guitar and start playing it. Anything you do like that will increase your quality of life and will also circulate energy. Skydiving, somebody says, nice, that's cool. Yeah. So really, this is the counterbalance to being a health-oriented person. It's good to always think about your health, but don't get trapped just in only thinking about sort of the physical health and that fixing model of trying to fix things in yourself, right? Or always just improving, just to get better and better. That's great. That's great. Optimizing is great, but just think about how can I enjoy my life? Obviously, I work for CHOQ. It's a supplements company. We are all about quality of life. One of the reasons that we focus so much on supplements that help with stress levels, that help support optimal energy, support mood, support focus, is because, again, whatever you're dealing with, those are the kinds of herbs and nutrients that will support your quality of life, regardless of what you have going on. Adaptogens, out of all the different herbs out there, adaptogens are the category that support quality of life the most because they bring balance to our system. They bring, things that are up here, down here, things that are down here, up here, meet in the middle, homeostatic balance function, right? So, but rhodiola is a great adaptogen. Ashwagandha is a great adaptogen. Tongkat Ali is a great adaptogen. Shilajit's a fantastic adaptogen. We're all about the adaptogens here, but other things are adaptogenic too. Meditation is an adaptogen, absolutely. Adaptogens are not just herbs, they're not just nutrients, they're not just plants and things like that. Acupuncture is an adaptogen, right? I can talk about acupuncture and its effect on our quality of life and nervous system all day long. I don't know how many of you guys get acupuncture, but if you've ever gone into an acupuncture session feeling really stressed out and all over the place and out of sorts and overwhelmed because your life is crazy, and then you've left that table feeling like a completely different person, yes, acupuncture is a fantastic adaptogen. It really, really is. I would say meditation is an adaptogen. Meditation for many people, of course, there's many kinds of meditation, but meditation is absolutely adaptogenic. And when you pair these practices like meditation, even psychotherapy for some people, it's not everybody's bag, but for some people, that can be an adaptogen, whatever it is. These practices, when you pair that with the actual adaptogenic herbs, of course, then it's an extreme synergy. And what adaptogens do, again, somebody's asking about cupping. Cupping is fantastic. Yes, absolutely. I had some cup marks recently, but I think they're gone. I do cupping on myself since I'm a doctor of acupuncture and Chinese medicine. But acupuncture, fantastic adaptogens. So many things are adaptogenic. And when you combine these herbs with these processes, with these practices, then your quality of life increases dramatically. But in general, the first place to go from a supplement standpoint for really just about anybody, and the reason CHOQ focuses so heavily on it is that we are very stressed out. Humans are stressed out in general, and there's a lot to be stressed out about, And so no matter what you do, if you have adaptogens in your life every day, you will have a better quality of life, and you will probably have a more balanced, reasonable perspective on things, right? So even when crazy stuff is going on in your life, when you just went through a breakup, for example, or maybe you have a family member who's sick, whatever it is that's going on in your life, you just lost your job, or you're overcoming some kind of, illness or something, and you're on the mend, and that's stressing you out. Whatever it is that's going on in your life, if you include more adaptogenic substances like herbs, and then also more adaptogenic practices like meditation, acupuncture, yoga, all that stuff, right? All of those things will bring you more into balance. So that's kind of my thought for the day, is just focus on, sometimes it's good to stop focusing on everything that's wrong with you, I got this problem, that problem, right? This physical problem, this mental problem, this, situational, financial problem. Stop focusing on the problems. Just think, what can I add to my life to provide better balance and better quality of life? That's my thought for the moment. So what do you guys think of that? Let's see, we got any. Somebody says, official Robbie Rob says these pills are definitely effective. 100. They help me a lot, and I've seen noticeable results. Awesome. Robbie Rob, tell me what kind of results are you talking about specifically? Let's see, what else? Yeah, I'm curious what adaptogenic processes you guys like to do too. A lot of you guys meditators? Do a lot of you guys do yoga? Guessing a lot of you guys are probably like nature people. Do you go out into nature and hike? Do you meditate in nature? That's something I need to do more of for sure. Somebody says impossible to be 100% perfect. That's absolutely correct. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, nor would you want to be perfect. I mean, it's literally an impossibility anyway. Humans are inherently imperfect, and that's what makes us so great. Let's see here. All right. Meditation, yes, fantastic. What questions do you guys have for me? Do you want to talk about herbs? Do you want to talk about nutrients? Do you want to talk about acupuncture? Do you want me to recommend supplements for you? Do you want me to recommend supplements for stress, for energy? Let me know. Juggling through life is a balancing act. Yeah, it sure is. It sure is. I myself did a little meditation in order to prepare for today's live because I was kind of feeling a little out of sorts myself, and it definitely helped. Yeah. All right. Someone's asking about cannabis plant. Well, it's not actually legal in the state that I live in Texas, and so I'm not really, can't comment a whole lot about it from that perspective. However, what I will say is, if you're talking about the hemp plant and talking about CBD type compounds, of course, those are fantastic. If you want to learn more about everything about medicinal cannabis, CBD and all the terpenes, then Ethan Russo, MD, is fantastic. He's very, very well known in those circles for basically being extremely well versed in cannabis research. Ethan Russo, ETHANRUSSO, if you'd like to learn more about the science there. Acupuncture you guys are into, very cool. Should I ask the doctor about the CHOQ bottle? What would that be? Yeah, feel free to ask away. And what I will say is regarding CBD, so one of the things that it's doing is it's actually inhibiting the breakdown on an enzymatic level of the endocannabinoids that are already in your brain. So endocannabinoid, meaning it is a cannabis-like molecule that is made by your body. Endogenous cannabinoid, endocannabinoid. Endogenous meaning made inside. So there is an enzyme called FAAH, fatty acid something hydroxylase, I believe. It's been a minute since I've seen this one. And what it does is it breaks down endocannabinoids. The main one is called anandamide. You guys might have heard of anandamide. It is found to some extent in chocolate. Ananda meaning bliss, so they call it the bliss molecule. But yes, your body makes this cannabinoid called anandamide. There's another one called 2-AG, 2-alpha-glycerol, something like that. And one of the things that CBD does is that enzyme that is in charge of breaking down these endocannabinoids, it slows the action of that enzyme so that you have less breakdown and then you have more of your natural endocannabinoids. So, we have cannabinoid receptors for a very good reason. And speaking of things like stress and quality of life and all that, I would say that, in the future, when we're doing different kinds of testing, if we find a reliable way to actually test everyone for these endocannabinoids like anandamide, we might find that those who have lower levels might actually be more stressed out. And, maybe when you optimize your levels, then you might actually find that you have a more balanced state of mind and a more calm, balanced way of looking at the world. So that's something to be aware of. Also, with respect to CBD, I'm not going to endorse any brands or anything like that. CHOQ doesn't sell CBD. Can't tell you whether we will or not in the future. Seems unlikely, to be honest. But CBD, the dose varies a lot. Anywhere from 1 milligram a couple times a day to 50, 60 milligrams 2 or 3 times a day for some people, or even more. So you do need to play around with the dose to see what works. Never done acupuncture. What is it like your first time? Well, DZ Levine, for me, of course, I'm an acupuncturist, but when I received it for the first time, it was completely mind-blowing. I felt an extraordinary amount of energy and tingling and just different pulsing kind of sensations throughout my body. I was shocked by how powerful the treatment was, and it actually took me out of a several-month-long depression. Only time in my life I've ever had this. It's a situational thing. But after one treatment like that, just back to where I was, it was absolutely incredible. That's not usual results for most people, but it had a huge effect on my state of mind, my outlook on life. It just destagnated me energetically and emotionally. And I was so amazed by the results that I became a doctor of acupuncture. Of course, that's oversimplification of how it actually worked, but eventually. All right, how does acupuncture work? That's a great question. And can it treat fatigue? So for something like fatigue, acupuncture certainly could help. It's not going to be, if you go and see a good acupuncturist who can also recommend herbs and nutrition and supplements and then do the whole package all together, that's going to be the best thing for boosting energy levels. As far as how acupuncture works, that is very, very complicated question. Because the short answer is we still don't exactly know the mechanism of action. But what we do know is that acupuncture certainly does seem to regulate the nervous system in a variety of different ways, and we can measure that. So, for example, there are studies where following acupuncture, you'll see changes in neurotransmitter levels, and changes in serotonin, changes in dopamine, things like that. You'll find changes in secretion of stress hormones. So acupuncture can reduce cortisol. It can also help the body create endorphins. And endorphins are natural painkillers, right? Endorphin actually stands for endogenous morphine. I don't know if y'all knew that, but yeah, that's what an endorphin is. It's your body's natural opioid, right? Of course, it's a more natural form, so it's going to be much better for you than taking it from the outside because your body's making it naturally. But yes, acupuncture, a lot of people go to acupuncture because they have knee pain or back pain or something like that. And then after that resolves, they stay because it's so amazing just to reset your nervous system. I personally rely on acupuncture really heavily as one of my primary adaptogenic quality of life boosting processes. I actually give it to myself, but sometimes I do also trade with other acupuncturists as well. Of course, I don't recommend you do acupuncture on yourself unless you are also a trained acupuncturist. But yeah, acupuncture is fantastic. I do highly recommend it. Try to find a good acupuncturist in your area. My other recommendation regarding acupuncture is if you're going to do acupuncture, make sure you find someone who actually has training in Chinese medicine, right? And isn't just a random chiropractor or something like that. There are Western practitioners who do acupuncture and also what they call dry needling, which is sort of a pseudo acupuncture. And if you go to a chiropractor or you go to, for example, like a PT, physical therapist, and they're doing acupuncture, a lot of the time what they're doing is not real acupuncture. It's a westernized, oversimplified form, and they instead of going to school for 4 or 5 years full-time year-round like we do to get their degrees, they go to like a few weekend seminars, a couple months maybe of training. It's really insufficient, and you're not going to get the same kind of effects or the same quality of treatment, and it'll be often a different style of treatment that doesn't provide the same side benefits because it's only focusing on like 1 or 2 areas of the body. So just know about that. All right, so somebody's asking about heavy metals and brain function. So I would really look into the work if you want to know about heavy metals and what they can do to the brain, specifically with regard to issues with brain declining over time in different ways. Again, I'm trying not to really mention specific diseases because that kind of gets into sort of a territory that's not great for me to talk about as somebody who represents a supplements company. But I will just tell you there's a researcher named Boyd Haley, Boydhaley. Boyd Haley. Boyd Haley is a chemist, and he's done some amazing work. Just go to YouTube, type in Boyd Haley Mercury. A bunch of stuff will pop right up. And you will find that Dr. Haley has figured out that mercury can cause a whole host of different problems that do look a lot like certain kinds of neurodegenerative issues. And that's all I'll say on that. But if you want to know more about that, Abby girl, Boyd Haley, PhD, go to YouTube, type in Boyd Haley Mercury. Really, really groundbreaking research that guy has done if you want to learn more. I love the Armor and 7 Wonders. They've helped me with skin condition. The Daily and Shilajit have helped me with my workouts and recovery. Taking Shilajit with black seed oil is one of the best things you can do to improve your health. Detoxify heavy metals. Cool. Black seed oil is really cool. I might use it at some point in the future for one of our formulas or as a single. Also, black seed, by the way, if we're talking about mood support and calming, I'm surprised some of these black seed extracts, how much of a calming effect they have. I really like black seed. It's actually just an incredibly versatile herb. When you look up the properties of black seed, it's all over the map. I mean, it seems like it affects nearly every system in the body. So really, really cool herb right there. Love black seed. Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Somebody's asking me if I'm vegan. So I'm not currently vegan. I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. I have been vegan in the past. I have a mostly plant-based diet, but I do some meat, primarily fish, but sometimes others. So I'm more pescatarian most of the time, and I eat much smaller quantities, typically once per day. That's what I recommend for my clients as well. A lot of people just eat way too much meat, but whatever works for you is great. If being vegan works for you, that's fantastic. If doing like a more of a healthy, smaller amount of meat works for you, that's great too. Really, everybody's different. There are some people whose bodies seem to require meat based on their anecdotal, reports, which are so numerous that I can't doubt them. Why that is, why we have different constitutions, why some people seem to need it and not others, I don't know. It's still a bit of a mystery. Maybe it's psychosomatic, who knows? But certainly many people do report that. But a lot of people, if they're doing it properly, do very well on vegan diets, and I'm not against that at all. I think it can be fantastic, especially for certain kinds of people dealing with certain issues. It can be really, really good. So, yeah, no problem. And of course, just FYI, CHOQ is a totally vegan-friendly line. We don't use any animal products, and we never will. So if you are vegan, you're totally safe with CHOQ products. Yeah. All right. Will you guys replace NAC? So absolutely, Jerry Doss. So we've got the new version of Apex Glutathione. It's going to be coming out in a couple months or so. And it's going to be, we're replacing the NAC with Kpros, which is a kind of organic amla extract. It's the same ingredient that we have in Action. One of the reasons we have it in Action is because Kpros boosts nitric oxide, but another reason that it's really helpful is because it actually boosts glutathione synthesis. It's a fantastic antioxidant. It has some other cool properties, it supports liver health, supports healthy cholesterol levels, things like that. So really awesome ingredient. So we're going to be using that instead of the NAC in Apex Glutathione. Yeah. All right. Let's see what other questions we got here. Thanks for answering my question. Yeah, you're very welcome. Let's see. Yeah, quality of life, I think it's just that simple. I think really any practitioner should always ask their client, patient, whatever, can we talk about quality of life? Like, what if we don't fix everything about you? What if you have some of these issues forever, Like, we're going to try to fix them, but what if we actually just focused on how to get you to enjoy your life more? I have a lot of clients who take things way too seriously. That right there is its own issue, really. Some people also don't take things seriously enough. But really, life is meant to be enjoyed at least some of the time, right? And a lot of people are caught up in patterns of extreme, incessant worry, just worrying about everything, worrying about their health, worrying about their finances, worrying about their relationships. And the stress hormones associated with that worrying about everything, right, and overthinking things and taking things too seriously, those are really corrosive to your nervous system. They burn out your neurotransmitters. They do all, they affect your, reproductive health, fertility. Not good. So any way we can chill out is helpful, right? Even if you have incredibly stressful things going on in your life, and you can't change the outside, do whatever you can to change the way that you react to those stressors, right? By, of course, using adaptogenic herbs, but then also figuring out everything that works for you, whether it's, again, acupuncture, massage, psychotherapy, for some people, meditation, nature, yoga, exercising, whatever it is, figure out what works for you and do it as much as you can and try to have some fun, It's a lot better than just being overtly serious 24/7. There's a time and a place to do that, but boy, so many people are so stressed out. I mean, you guys know people who are just stressed out 24/7. Maybe you're one of them. I don't know. I'm not sure. I hope not. Hopefully you guys are learning how to chill and to enjoy your lives to some extent. But boy, I just don't think people appreciate what stress hormones can do to you. And again, one of the reasons that adaptogens are so important is because one of the common denominators that you find in so many of these adaptogens is they support healthy cortisol levels, support healthy stress levels. And that right there is so important. It can drastically change how the world even looks to you to get your stress hormones in check. Very, very important. Phyllis, thoughts on liver health? Specific herbs are good for liver detox. Yeah. So actually, the The herb I was just talking about that we're putting in Apex glutathione instead of NAC, which is called Capros, which is an organic amla extract. Excellent for liver health, actually. Of course, the old standard that everybody knows is milk thistle. And milk thistle, one of its actions is that it actually does support glutathione synthesis. Dandelion, great for the liver, of course. Let's see what else. Artichoke, excellent for the liver. So artichoke kind of blurs the lines between a food and a medicinal herb, you know. Yes, you can eat artichoke as a food, and it's great to do that, but you can also get like artichoke extracts, you know. What else? Oh man, I mean, so many things. Schizandra, also known as Wu Weizi in Chinese medicine, excellent for liver. That's fantastic. So lots and lots of good liver herbs out there for sure. Also, you know, from a dietary standpoint, some of these trendy high-fat diets, you know, keto and all that, I really don't think they're particularly great for your liver. I don't think it's a great idea to be overloading your liver with massive amounts of fat. I do think that that probably does inhibit liver detoxification. So having a more balanced diet where you're not overdosing on fat, these trendy low-carb diets, do not recommend, to be honest. Not good for the liver. So there is that. Let's see here. All right. Is rainwater safe to drink? Great question. Absolutely not, in my opinion. No, there's way too much stuff going on outside. You don't know what's in there. I would not drink rainwater personally. I personally would not. I know some people say it's fine, but there's all sorts of weird stuff floating around up there. I would never drink rainwater personally. What's best for dopamine? Oh yeah, good question. Well, Mucuna pruriens, which is one of the active ingredients in CHOQ Daily, that has L-Dopa in it, naturally occurring. And L-Dopa is a direct precursor, as it sounds like, to dopamine, right? So Mucuna pruriens is great for dopamine. You need certain B vitamins for dopamine synthesis. So methylfolate, which is the natural version, one of the natural versions of folate, which we have in Apex glutathione. Very important for dopamine. B12, you want B12 in a bioavailable form that's also natural, like a methyl B12, methylcobalamin. That's also important for dopamine. Rhodiola does support healthy dopamine levels. Boy, if you start looking into the literature, you'll find a whole lot of different herbs that help to reduce the breakdown of dopamine by working on an enzyme called MAO. MAOIs, or monoamine oxidase inhibitors, are any compounds that can reduce the activity of MAO, and MAO can break down different neurotransmitters, including dopamine. One that comes to mind that specifically breaks down MAOB, which is the version of MAO that breaks down dopamine, is actually Avena sativa, also known as wild oats or milky oats. Avena sativa, great dopamine booster as well. Yeah. All right, what else we got here? Okay. When I work, I take action and my focus energy is through the roof. Very cool. Fantastic. How similar is NAC to amla? They're completely different. The only thing that they have in common is that they both boost glutathione. But NAC is really just an amino acid, whereas amla is an actual fruit extract. So amla fruit, it's a standardized amla fruit extract is what we're using as a replacement to NAC. And we're using it again because it's a great glutathione booster, but it has all these other really cool properties that make it a great CHOQ ingredient, like boosting nitric oxide. And of course, nitric oxide, very, very important, not just for your brain, but also, you know, for blood flow throughout the body, cardiovascular health, sports performance, cognitive function, all that. All right, let's see what else we got here. Do you eat any dairy products? No, personally, dairy and I make a joke. I say dairy and I do not get along. In fact, dairy and I are not even on speaking terms right now. But no, I broke up with dairy several years ago, probably about 4 years ago now, and it's been one of the best things I've ever done. I don't eat any gluten or dairy. I also don't eat any eggs. Eggs can be really problematic for a lot of different reasons. A lot of people don't know, but if anyone out there has hormonal problems, if you're suffering from different kinds of chronic inflammation, you might want to consider the possibility of eliminating eggs. I know they say that they're the perfect food, yada, 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 right? They have the DHA, the choline, the folate, the albumin, the this and the that, right? And yes, eggs do have certain great nutrients in them, but they're also a common food allergy, more common than you would think. And they're a giant ball of, even the natural ones are a giant ball of hormones. chicken hormones that are naturally in eggs. I'm not talking about added hormones. It has nothing to do with that, although that's also bad. But even the most natural eggs in the world that came from the chickens in your backyards, it's a giant ball of naturally occurring chicken hormones. And one of the reasons that women's menstrual cycles tend to get better when they go off of eggs is because of that. There is also some research linking eggs to different, to some hormonal conditions and things like that. So yeah, eggs do have a lot of problems with them. We've also, in the laboratory, this is something that comes from medical medium, we have grown a lot of different viruses on eggs. We have sort of, in a sense, taught certain microorganisms how to grow on eggs. So there is that idea from medical medium Anthony William that they can feed pathogens. And so, that would be another take on it. But yeah, so gluten, dairy, and eggs are the ones that I really don't do. I don't do a lot of corn either. And I try to avoid canola oil almost as much as possible, So if you guys, I'm sure probably a lot of you guys are really savvy to this, but if you're not, canola oil is something you want to avoid. You want to avoid canola oil. Corn oil is horrible. Safflower oil is not so great. Anything that says rapeseed, which is actually just canola, which is a horrible name, another horrible name, but for canola oil. Yeah. Can you talk about Astragalus? Yeah, Astragalus is fantastic. We do have Astragalus in CHOQ Armor. I wanted to put it in there. So CHOQ Armor is when I co-formulated with our old formulator. He took the lead on it, but I kind of advised on a few things, and I recommended that we add the Astragalus in there in CHOQ Armor. Because Astragalus is, first of all, it is an adaptogen. So again, it's a CHOQ-friendly kind of product, because we love adaptogens at CHOQ. So it can help with, healthy energy levels, healthy mitochondrial function, things like that, right? Healthy digestive function. We use it in Chinese medicine for those sorts of things. We call it a qi tonic in Chinese medicine, same herbal family as ginseng, for example. But then also Astragalus is great for the immune system, helps support healthy histamine levels, supports healthy white blood cell production, and things like that. So Astragalus is excellent for that. So yeah, really like Astragalus. We have an organic Astragalus extract in CHOQ Armor. Yeah. What's the best oil to cook with? Official Robbie Rob. So I personally use exclusively just coconut oil and olive oil. The logic a long time ago used to be that olive oil was not heat stable because, it's has a different constitution in terms of the kinds of fats that are in it. However, I will say that olive oil is loaded with antioxidants. And so you are now finding some opinions saying that actually it is more heat stable than we thought. But yeah, I love olive oil and I love coconut oil. Coconut oil also does have some really cool immune boosting properties because it does have that lauric acid in it that turns into monolaurin in your body. Monolaurin, great for the immune system, helps with healthy microbial balance, things like that. No, grapeseed is great. There's actually something called rapeseed, R-A-P-E, which is a horrible name. And it's another name that they call canola oil. And I really don't know why that was ever considered a good name. It's really the worst name you could possibly think of for an oil. But no, grapeseed with a G, fine. And of course, we use grapeseed extract in Action 2.0. And we're not getting the fats from it, though. Not necessarily the fat that we're looking for in that. It's not like grapeseed oil, but it is a grapeseed extract that is excellent for healthy vascular function and also for nitric oxide production and things like that. Let's see here. All right. Okay. All righty. So, looks like we're about to finish up. Somebody says, what happens in a clinical study? Does that mean just in general? Interesting question. Like, how do clinical studies work? Or... But yeah, no, I think I'm going to answer one or two and then head out here. Can you talk about the process behind the blueberry and kale extracts in Action 2.0 like a powder? So that is a pre-made ingredient complex that we buy, where they basically are doing all that extraction themselves and then packaging it all as one blend. Coconut water, yeah, coconut water is fantastic. It's absolutely amazing. Coconut water, by the way, just so y'all know, there's been research out there that shows that 98% of Americans don't get the recommended daily amount of potassium, So for those of y'all who are in America, just know that, and I'm sure it's bad in other countries too, but we do have pretty horrible diets in America. So 98% of Americans, so only, 2 out of 100 people, if you imagine a room of 100 people, only 2 of those people are getting the recommended daily intake of potassium. And coconut water is the single best source of potassium out there. It's fantastic. And you need potassium for so many things. It's not just something it's a critical electrolyte. It's something that your brain needs. So the reason that a banana is also brain food is that it's got plenty of potassium. And of course, it also, like coconut water, has nice, naturally occurring carbohydrates that your body can easily use that will feed your brain as well. All right. Do you recommend a website to find a good acupuncturist in the New York area? Yeah, so acufinder.com. I believe it's acu-finder.com. Let's just make sure that's right. Acufinder.com, or is it acu-finder? So just type, no, not dash, acufinder.com. Just go to acufinder.com. You can type in your city or zip code, and it'll pop up a whole bunch of different licensed acupuncturists. Yep. All right, so I think it's time for me to go, guys. This has been fun, as always. Like I said, do what you can to maintain your quality of life. Don't take things too seriously if at all possible. If you got a lot of stressful stuff going on, make sure obviously you're taking your adaptogens, your CHOQ and all that, but make sure also you're trying to have some fun. Make sure you're doing your self-care, meditation, chilling out, enjoying your life as best as possible. And as always, of course, like I said, like I always say now these days, stay human.